there seems to be a massive diversity in the way in which people are experiencing the pandemic. Some people are thriving, they seem to have adjusted very well and very easily, whereas other people are really struggling and they are basically finding each day very challenging. And I suppose a lot of it is circumstantial. People are faced with a variety of challenges, and some people are dealing with domestic situations, financial situations, mental or physical situations that other people may not necessarily have to deal with. So you have to take that into account. Likewise, some people are just more adaptable and more resilient than others, and it's having compassion for whatever your experience is. Again, the more we try to deny our experience or wish ourselves something else or someone else, the more likely those negative feelings are going to, really manifest themselves into high anxiety, resentment, fear. And if we can sit with them, if we can tolerate them, if we can let them be and accept them for what they are, they're more likely to dissipate quite quickly. And I know there's a lot of content out there at the moment talking about the amount of growth and I suppose strength potential there is in times of adversity. And it's recognizing that you have to be in the right place in order to take advantage of that. And if you're not in the right place, that's okay. If all you do is survive on a day-to-day level, then that is fine. And just make sure that you are kind to yourself in that journey and that you reach out for whatever help you can get to help you come out the other side, all in one piece. However, for people who are looking, I suppose, to develop on a more personal level as a consequence of what they are currently experiencing, this is an ideal time to do it. I mean, it's not saying that the suffering or the struggle that you're experiencing at the moment isn't very real. It is. But if you can learn to tolerate it, if you can apply a little bit of curiosity to it, if you can find a sense of meaning in it, then there is the opportunity there to develop spiritually, to expand on who you are as a person, expand on the way that you think, and find a greater appreciation for your life, find a greater appreciation for your relationships. Look for more possibilities to find purpose, more opportunities to avail of the life that has been given to you. Also try to practice more compassion, more understanding, more forgiveness. Try to be more altruistic in your day-to-day engagements with people. And I think there's a lot of opportunities for these sort of practices coming to us on a day-to-day basis, because again, when we hear about so many deaths, and I would always warn people to be very careful about the amount of engagement they allow themselves with death figures, and kind of that sensational news, because again, it is just as likely to pull you under as it is to fascinate you. However, no matter who you are, you're going to be hearing a certain amount of death rates and, kind of people who are really experiencing very adverse consequences as a result of the coronavirus. And it's recognizing that that can give you a greater appreciation of your own life and what you have, and recognizing that with that appreciation comes the opportunity to explore what you do with that gift, that life that you have. Are you happy in the job that you're in? Are you happy in the relationship that you're in? Are you appreciative enough of all that you have? Is there more that you would like to be doing with your life? When you come out the other side, or when you get to the end of your life, what would you like to say your life stood for? Or what would you like to say that your legacy had been? It's also a possibility to develop your personal strength, to recognize your resilience, to recognize all that you have to offer. When we give ourselves to a greater good, when we try to do nice things for other people, when we try to even be better people for our kids and in our relationships, it builds us up. It builds all of these kind of attributes in us that we should all try and switch our focus to: benevolence and kindness and forgiveness and compassion and love, and all of these kind of authentic feelings that, if we can cultivate them more on a day-to-day basis, are going to make our life a more more fulfilling and meaningful place. And oftentimes we're so caught up in the busyness of everything that we don't get the opportunity to expand on all of these things, you know. And I talk a lot about the difference between expanded thinking and contracted thinking. And so much of what we do is at a contracted level. It's very black or white. It's very kind of, this is how I think, so this is how it is. And that can be so restrictive. I talk a lot about the concept, it's a Buddhist concept of beginner's mind, you know, just the acknowledgement that you don't know everything, that there is always something for you to learn, that there is always an aspect of yourself that you can develop. You can never be, you know, too kind. You can never be too knowledgeable. There is always something fresh and something new for you to pick up on. And the more you kind of create that awareness of yourself, the way in which you think, the way in which you filter the world, and how much that impacts on the way in which you interpret other people and the way in which you interpret your life, and the level of optimism that you're able to manifest on a daily basis, that awareness is priceless. And this is an opportunity for us to work on that awareness, to recognize the emotions that are coming up for us, to become more I suppose mindful of what our thoughts are on a daily basis, and whether or not those thoughts serve who it is that we actually want to be. What way can we utilize who we are and the gifts that we have to be a really decent person, to show up for others, to serve others, to serve ourselves, you know, because it's all about evolving. It's all about becoming the best version of yourself. And again, as I said, this is only something that you can think about or play around with. It's not saying that you have to come out the other side of the pandemic, you know, a completely transcended person. I mean, I'm not going to, so I don't expect anybody else to. But it is about recognizing that there is always an opportunity for growth. And even if that is just coping on a day-to-day basis, well, that's a growth in itself, you know. The fact that you're just getting through this experience is huge, and honor that and recognize it for what it is, but trying to be as open to the possibilities that are being delivered to you now on a day-to-day basis, as opposed to just numbing out and just avoiding thinking too much about things. But not thinking, overly thinking either, because again, introspection is one of those things that can swallow us up if we focus too much on it. But becoming really aware of yourself and becoming really aware of the impact that you have on others and the potential that you have in you and the way in which you can utilize that as much as possible. One of the really, really important ways I've seen of doing this is to put a little bit of structure into your day. I think having consistent routines is integral when it comes to developing who you are as a person, or even when it comes to diminishing anxiety levels. You know, making sure that you have a regular sleep routine, making sure that you eat as well as possible, that you take care of your body, that you exercise daily, but that you also have, I suppose, a little bit of time put aside for reflection, for a bit of kind of self-inquiry as to what is going on for you at the moment and what it's telling you about yourself, and applying that little bit of curiosity and asking yourself, okay, is there a way I could do things a little bit better? Is there a way I could build on my strengths a little bit? Is there a way I could show up to my relationships in a new way, because I'm now seeing them in a new light and perhaps placing an increased value on them? And you know, all of these things that kind of keep you focused on who it is that you can potentially be and what you can be for other people. And I suppose it's getting that kind of middle ground between accountability and leniency. Be kind to yourself, but also recognize that you owe it to yourself and you owe it to other people to be the best version of you possible. I hope everyone is staying well, and I'm doing online work with clients if anyone is interested.